My name is Boo Quo, and in my presentation I'll be analyzing freedom of religion versus the cruel, inhuman acts of Sharia law. Should it be considered illegal? Help me prevent the death of innocent people. Help me save lives. Destroy Sharia law and its purposes. Defining Sharia law isn't strict to our knowledge. It basically depends on the moralities that we experience each day, especially in our Western society. Though here is information that I fell upon throughout my study of Sharia law. Sharia law is an Islamic legal system that was obtained from the likes of such sovereignties similar to the outrageous demanding governments of both Korean countries. It is described to be heavily concentrated with moral law. But what is morality? Morality is the differentiation of intentions, decisions, and actions between those that are good, perceived as right, or those that are bad, seen as wrong. Sharia law is a tool practiced by religious extremists and political leaders to enforce jurisdiction that absolutely dehumanizes citizens belonging to that sovereignty. Also, it extracts humans of their universal rights. Here are victims that have suffered the wrath of Sharia law.
He used to dig gravel for construction companies, he said, until they cut off his hand. His alleged crime? Stealing a motorbike. On his remaining wrist, he carries a little bag of antibiotics and bandages.
You see, before, my whole arm was this thick, but the doctors had to cut in and remove flesh because it was infected. That's why it's so thin here. You can see my bones. All the flesh is gone. It hurts, and I feel as if my bones are coming out.
Then his friend appeared. Vous avez beaucoup de douleur?
No.
Another of the 20 or so men who lost a hand or a hand and foot amputated under the harsh Sharia punishments the jihadis introduced in Gao. Neither man knows how he'll support his family now.
Muslims are severely affected by this preposterous rule, as it bounds them to basic means of life. Furthermore, it dilutes the people with fear of God. The basic parts of the law inform Muslims of moral law and diseases them by enforcing the ideology of a perfect Muslim, alleged to be published by the Prophet Muhammad. Freedom of religion is defined under Article 18 of the International Covenant on Civil and Political Rights. In our first passage of the definition, it describes, everyone shall have the right to freedom of thought, conscience, and religion. This right shall include freedom to have or to adopt a religion or belief of his choice, and freedom either individually or in community with others and in public or private to manifest his religion or belief in worship, observance, practice, and teaching. The second passage describes, no one shall be subject to coercion, which would impair his freedom to have or to adopt a religion or belief of his choice. Both of these passages have been violated by the threats and actions of Sharia law. Therefore, freedom of religion, which are heavily supported by international laws and external affairs, cannot coexist with Sharia law. In the Universal Declaration of Human Rights, Article 5 describes, no one shall be subjected to torture or to cruel, inhuman, or degrading treatment or punishment. Saudi Arabia is an interesting state. They have enforced full effect of Sharia law and are signatory to the United Nations Convention Against Torture. Article 1 of the Convention defines torture as any act by which severe pain or suffering, whether physical or mental, is intentionally inflicted on a person, punishing him for an act he or third person has committed or is suspected of having committed, or intimidating or coercing him or a third person. Here are common examples of well-renowned issues concerning religion in Saudi Arabia.
The verdict, shocking. The sentence, even more so. A Saudi woman beheaded. Her crime, practicing witchcraft and sorcery. According to Saudi Arabia's Ministry of Interior, Amina bint Abdul Halim Nasser was executed on Monday. London-based Saudi daily Al Hayat quotes a source in the country's religious police who said authorities searched Nasser's home, finding books on sorcery, a number of talismans, and glass bottles filled with liquids commonly used for the purposes of magic.
If we cannot explore the potentials of life, then we are simply surviving. Scholars of Islam treat religion as a form of slavery. According to Sharia law, theft is punishable by the amputation of the right hand. Criticizing or denying any part of the Quran is punishable by death. Criticizing or denying Allah, the moon god of Islam, is punishable by death. A non-Muslim who leads a Muslim away from Islam is punishable by death. A non-Muslim man who marries a Muslim woman is punishable by death. A woman can have one husband, but a man can have up to 4 wives. Muhammad otherwise can have as many wives as he wants to. If we cannot express ourselves, then we are internally caged and destined for darkness. Religion is a connection between you and your beliefs. Death is the true definition of Sharia law. A man should not die for what they stand for. What is the purpose of existing if you're only surviving? Give aid to victims of Sharia law by donating to Amnesty.com. My name is Boo Kwol, and thank you for watching my presentation.